Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
I'm in awe. All right. Am I live out there? Hello, everyone. How you doing? Welcome back. How many of you caught Valerie June's set just a little bit ago? Amazing. Well, we are excited to have Laura Nadeau with us at the Gladden House. If you're not familiar with us, we're a new addition this year to the Nelsonville Music Festival, a partnership between the festival, local NPR affiliate WOUB, and the Ohio University School of the Arts and Studies. All of the Gladden House sessions are being filmed, recorded, and will be available for streaming next week as a part of the series for the entire festival. So if you've missed some of the great moments that have happened, many great moments that have happened on the stage, you should definitely check it out at woub.org. Just quickly, we have our session with Laura here. At 4:15, Todd Burge will be joining us, and then we have 5:30. We are really excited to welcome Ray Wiley Hubbard after his set on the main stage. So please come back for that. It'll be one not to miss, and a great way to close out our sessions here. So without further ado, please welcome Laura Nadeau.
Hi. Thank you.
So Laura, let me start by asking you something.
Sorry.
Yeah, you got to talk a little bit. That's how these things work.
Okay.
So I was just ran into someone. They're like, Laura Nadeau is like one of the greatest singers in our region, but I feel like a lot of people haven't, maybe outside of like the immediate area here, haven't really gotten exposed. But you've had mountain stage performance with your previous band Stella. Mm-hmm. What are you working on now, where people maybe get a little more exposure to your role as a musician?
Now if you have a child that's age birth through 5, I teach music classes at Arts West, Music Together with Music Together in Athens. I record a lot with different artists and perform with other artists as well. In June, this month, I'm going to be playing with the Carpenter Ants from Charleston, West Virginia.
That's a lot of the mountain stage band folks.
Right.
Michael Lipton.
Michael Lipton's the guitarist for the mountain stage, and he is the guitarist for the Carpenter Ants. And I've recorded with them, and I perform with them, and it's really fun. That's pretty much what I do.
Now, many of you might not know this, but I actually get to hear Laura quite a bit because she lives across the street from me. And I remember recently you were like, yeah, Don Dixon, legendary producer, was just over my house, like, recording me.
Yeah, I know, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, it's not every day that,
I got a picture of him in my living room.
Yeah. So how did that come about? Was that just for the Carpenter Ants record?
Actually, it was a commercial for medical assistance in Charleston, for West Virginians.
So like singing about medical equipment?
Yeah, I was singing a jingle that Michael had written, and he brought Don up, and we set up a little recording studio there in my living room, and I sang about medical assistance available and it was a phone number, and I can't even remember.
The man who
now.
produced classic records got you to sing about medical equipment.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was nice.
Yeah. That's great. Well, I think everybody wants to hear something other than
I won't sing that.
Here today.
Okay.
Yeah, so share a little bit about something you're going to be singing for us.
I think I want to play this song that it's by Kate Wolf, and I found out about Kate Wolf through my mother, and she really likes her stuff, and I didn't really know anything about her until last year. My mom got the CD, and she was like, oh, you have to listen to this woman, and I loved it. And her music was very easy for me to relate to, as well as sing. And it's one of my favorite songs that she has. It's called Across the Great Divide. I've been walking in my sleep, counting trouble, instead of counting sheep. Where the years went, I cannot say. I just turned around and they'd gone away. I've been sifting through the layers of dusty books and faded papers. They tell a story I used to know. It was one that happened long ago. It's gone away in yesterday, and I find my myself on the mountainside where the rivers change direction across the great divide. And I heard an owl calling softly as the night was falling with a question, and I replied, now he's gone across the borderline. He's gone away in yesterday, and I find myself on the mountainside where the rivers change direction across the great divide. The finest hour that I've seen is the one that comes between the edge of night and the break of day, when the darkness rolls away. It's gone away in yesterday, and I find myself on the mountainside where the rivers change direction across the great divide. It's gone away in yesterday, and I find myself on the mountainside where the rivers change direction across the great divide.
Laura Nadeau.
Thanks.
Thank you. So, when did you actually start getting into music, singing? I mean, you're teaching now, so you see a lot of students starting to kind of get their beginning.
Right. Well, I fortunately grew up in a family that we just always sang. My father always sang, very natural singer, and so we used to just always sing. I used to sing my brother to sleep into his bedroom in the other room, and then he'd sing me a song to sleep, and then I'd try to sing him to sleep, and, you know, just growing up. And when I was in second grade, that was my first performance with Were You There When They Crucified the Lord at my school that I was in. It was usually a soldier's performance, but none of the boys wanted to do it, and so I was like, Sister Claudia, I'll do it. So she let me do it. And I used to want to be Lou Rawls. Like when I was in fourth grade, I really wanted to be Lou Rawls when I grew up. I wrote an essay about it. My mom kept it.
You wrote an essay about Lou Rawls?
I wanted to be him. And
That's like really
he was
incredible.
my first concert. My dad took me to Lou Rawls for my first concert in seventh grade. It was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And I just have always been singing. I think I've probably, my mom has pictures of me when I was little. So being a part of a program that introduced making music in your family instead of just listening to music, for me, is really important. I never realized how many families really don't make music in their family. And we grew up with a piano in the house and guitars in the house, and singing was something very welcome. My grandfather would play button box and accordion, and we'd be singing polkas and Slovenian music, So it was kind of it was a nice, I think that's probably why I'm a singer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever written any songs that kind of reflect back over that?
No. But maybe I should. Good idea.
This is the start of that.
Yes.
Well,
The Lou Rawls essay.
Yeah. Well, let's
I wanted to
song
be
about
Lou
the Lou
Rawls.
Rawls essay.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, let's hear something else.
Okay, this is a song I wrote when I was living in Austin, Texas. And I lived on a street called Eiler Avenue. And it was in the flight path, which is really loud when the planes would come into land. And then about as far away as that tree is over there, that's where the railroad track was in my backyard. So the train would go by, and I lived there. And it was one of these situations where when you're making very little money, you try to find some place that doesn't charge very much. So I kind of had to stay there because of the rent stuff. So. And at the time, I started thinking about, my situation there, and also situations I've been in relationships and people I knew that were in relationships with other people. And it sort of was my first attempt at writing It was my first attempt at writing like about somebody else, and I couldn't believe it today. I was thinking about it, and that was like 20 years ago. This song I wrote 20 years ago. Wow. That's so weird. I feel like I wrote it 4 years ago, because I think 4 years ago I was that old. Okay.
It's a pre-internet song. Thank you.
Yeah.
He took away from her beauty, like the sun fades the hue of the upholstery on her sofa, a deep red when it was new. So now the curtains are kept drawn to camouflage what's showing through. And when the planes come into land, she thinks of her first love. And when the train rolls by, she thinks of home. They were held hostage by the low rent, almost as if the landlord knew. She saved her spare change in a big glass jug in the corner of her room, and told her 3 pets, I promise we'll get out of here soon. And when the planes come into land, she thinks of her first love. And when the train rolls by, oh, when that train rolls by, and when the train rolls by, she is riding inside that big black engine. She's taking it further down the tracks. She's headed for Athens County Station, where the sign reads, welcome back. She ordered 2 eggs over easy at the Q Club down the street. It's her new hangout, and it's a refuge and an all-night place to eat, where she can forget for a moment that she's living with that creep. And when the planes come into land, she thinks of her first love. And when the train rolls by, oh, when that train rolls by, and when the train rolls by, she thinks of home. She thinks of home. She thinks of home. Do, 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 do,
All right, thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Thanks, Josh.
I think we got time for one more. Like to hear another one? Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, I'd like to play this song for you. It's called "Let This Remind You." It's a song about my good friend Cindy, who has passed since this time, and It's about my Aunt Todd, who's dead too. So it's kind of sad, I guess, really, what it's about. But they were really awesome women. And just things that they'd been through and stuff has always been very inspirational for me. And so the song, I think about them when I wrote it, I was thinking about them. So it's called "Let This Remind You."
Let this remind you of the way that you first saw her, standing in the courtyard, singing to her dog. She wore a faded denim sundress to celebrate the season, and hanging in her long hair a wilted dandelion. Just be sure to keep your distance. Things aren't always what they seem. You think by now you know the difference, and you'd quit mistaking infatuation for love. Not a trace of makeup. She wore her lines like jewelry, each one a reminder of all she had seen. From the hills of West Virginia to the woods of Rocky River, and to a flat just south of London and the coastal shores of Maine. Just be sure to keep your distance. Things aren't always what they seem. You'd think by now you know the difference, and quit mistaking infatuation for love. Let this remind you of the day that you first saw her, standing in the courtyard. Oh, singing.
Wonderful. Laura Nadeau, thank you so much for joining us at the Gladden House.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us. Again, we'll be back at 4:15 with Todd Burge, and please come back at 5:30 for a special session and our last of the day with Ray Wiley Hubbard. Take care.